Good morning, guys. We're going to do a review here for the algebra test, getting ready for all the different things they're going to ask you. And I've put a list. Feel free to make notes, whatever you want, that'll help you prepare. Obviously, they're not the actual questions, but they are the types of problems I'm going to ask you to do. First, I'm going to ask you about your divisibility rules. All right? Now, let's review them. We know that a number is divisible by 2 if the number ends in an even number. If it's an even number, it ends in 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. It is a divisible number by 2. A number is divisible by 3 if the sum of the digits are divisible by 3. What I mean by that, I have the number 231. Is it divisible by 3? Well, 2 plus 3 plus 1 is 6, and 6 is divisible by 3. So yes, 231 is divisible by 3. A number is divisible by 4 if the last 2 digits are both zeros, or if the last 2 digits are divisible by 4. Okay, so you're going to look at the last 2 digits. If they're both zeros, yes, you can divide it by 4. If the last 2 digits, in this case, 324, the last 2 digits are 24. Yes, it is divisible by 4. A number is divisible by 5 if the ones column is a 0 or a 5. If it ends in a 0 or if it ends in a 5, it is divisible by 5. A number is divisible by 9 if the sum of the digits is divisible by 9. That's the same rule as divisible by 3, except here we're looking for 3, so is it that sum divisible by 3? Here we're saying, is that sum divisible by 9? And the 10. If a number ends in a 0, it is divisible by 10. Now there is one that's not on our poster, and that is a 6. A number is divisible by 6 if both things are true. 1, if it is even. So it ends in a 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8. And if the sum of the digits are divisible by 3. Then that number is divisible by 6. So look at the next thing. They want you to be able to round numbers. In a couple of cases, I will give you a decimal. For example, I might give you the decimal 0.089. Say round that to the nearest hundredths, okay? Well, tenths, hundredths, thousands, so I'm gonna round to the hundredths, so I look at the thousands and say, oh, that's a 9. That's more than 5, so I'm gonna drop this number, add 1, and my answer is 0.09, okay? I also will ask you, I will give you a division problem. I will give you a fraction, something written as a fraction, like 2.3 divided by 0.04. Then I will tell you to divide that problem and round your answer to 2-digit places. Next, we'll do some mental math. When I say mentally simplify, what I'm talking about is if I give you the number 7.4 and I say divide that by 100. How do you solve that? Well, you know that the 100 has 2 zeros. So all I'm going to do is move my decimal point 2 places. Am I going to move it to the left or will I move it to the right? Well, I'm dividing, so I'm going to move it to the left. 1, 2, so this becomes 0.074. Okay, what if I want to multiply it? What if it's 7.4 and I want to multiply it by 10,000? Okay, well, how many zeros are there? There are 4. Here's your number, 7. We got to move our decimal place 4 places. So 1, it's here. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4, and there's our number. Now, let's go to the next thing on the test. I'm going to give you a fraction like 3/10 and say make the equivalent fraction if the other denominator was a 70. Well, what do I multiply 10 by to get 70? 7. So 10 times 7 is 70. So 3 times 7 is 21. Next, I'm going to ask you for the product of the primes. In other words, I'm going to ask you to take a fraction. Let's give a simple one. Let's say that we had 6 over 15. Okay? You're going to find the prime factorization of 6, which is, we're going to use the divisibility of primes. We're going to start with the 2 and we get 3. So 6 is 2 times 3. Then we'll do the same thing for 15. I cannot use a 2 because it's not an even number. So I use the next prime, which is 3. Will 3 go into 15 evenly? Yes, it goes into it 5 times. So then I go over here and I say the product of the primes are 15. So now I have got both of my prime factorizations, okay? So I want to read, I'm going to say, what can I do with this, okay? It depends on what I'm looking for, okay? Right now, I've just asked you for the products of the prime. I'm not asking you to find the least common denominator or least common multiple. I will on the test, but right here, I just asked for the primes, okay? Then we have what number is 2/5 of 110? Okay, I'm going to turn this camera just a little bit so you can see the problem a little better. There we go. What number is 2/5 of 110? Well, we know that what number is n? Is means to equal 2/5. The word of tells us to what? Multiply. That's right. Multiply 110 over 1. Now, I put it over a 1 because it's a whole number, and I can do that. Okay, now I'm going to cancel. I'm going to cancel my 5, make it a 1. 5 goes into 111. Well, 5 goes into 11 2 times. 5 goes into 10 1 time. Now, we multiply. 2 times 21, we get 42. 1 times 1 is 1. The answer is 42. Look at the next type of problem. I want you to write a mixed number. How do you write a mixed number? Divide the numerator by the denominator. Well, 3 goes into 10 3 times with a remainder of 1. Make your fraction 1/3. Okay? All right, least common multiples. Well, we got to do our prime factorization of 14. Okay? 2 goes into 14 2 times, leaving us 7, and 7 is prime. So the prime factorization is 2 times 7. Then I have 21, and 2 will not go into 21, but 3 will. 3 times 7. For time's sake, I'm only going to do the 2 numbers, okay? Let's look for the least common multiple. What do I have to do? I have to list every different factor has to be in my answer. I have a contest between the factors to see which one has the most, okay? So I look first and say there's 1 2 in the 14. There's no 2's in the 21. I have to list a 2. Now, who has the most? Well, 14 does. How many does it have? It has 1, so I write 1. Then I say who has, the next one is the factor 3. 21 has more than 14 because 21 has 1. 14 has 0, so I put 1. Then I look at 7. 14 has 1 7. 21 has 1 7. They each have 1, so 1 is the answer, so we're going to put 7. Now, to find my least common multiple, I multiply them together. 7, I can go 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 7 is 42. So the least common multiple is 42. These are some samples of what we're going to be doing on the test. Let me give you a few more. Next, I will ask you to simplify. When I ask you to simplify this time, I'm talking about numbers like, this is not on the test. Let's say that it's 4 3/4 times 2 1/2 divided by 2 1/3. How would I simplify that? Well, first change everything to an improper fraction. So we have 16 plus 3 is 19 over 4 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5 over 2 divided by 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7 over 3. Now what do I do? Now I'm going to keep, change, flip. Remember, this is already multiplication, so I'm just going to bring that one down. This is a division problem, so keep the first one, bring it down, change your sign to multiplication, and flip the second one. Now what do? I see if I can cancel, and then I solved it. I will also ask you, if you had, let's say that you had cases of soda, and Brother David bought, I don't know, let's say that Brother David bought 7 cases of soda for the school store. Each case has 12. How many sodas did he buy? What are you going to do? You're going to simply say the number of cases in this case was 7 times the number in one case, which is 12. 7 times 12, there's your answer for the number you have. I will ask you to add and subtract decimals. I will ask you to solve an equation like this. Okay, we've done hundreds of these probably this year, where you have something along the lines of 5/7 over, let's put 14/19, and that equals 4 over x. Now, I've not even worked that problem out, okay? But this type of problem, what would you do? How would you do it? You would cross multiply. 5/7 times x, giving you 5/7 x equals 14 over 19 times 4 over 1. And then you would continue to solve. I will also give you a chart. Well, it won't be a chart on your test. It's a chart on the paper one, but it won't be on your test. I will give you a fraction, ask you to change it to a decimal. I will also have you change that same fraction to a percent. That is page 1 of the final. The final on paper form is 3 pages long. We'll talk about the next page of the final tomorrow. I did not give you an online assignment today. What I'm giving you is an opportunity to look at everything I went over and to shoot me a text this morning so that I can address anything you want to see me work out. That's going to be on the final. If you need to do it this morning, because I'm going to record tomorrow's lesson, and I need to know what your questions are thus far. Okay? So there's no actual written work for today. It's just a matter of really watching the video and being prepared for your final. Have a good day.